Hey guys, welcome to Telling the Told and Untold. My name is Tshego. For today's video, we are going to be discussing the tragic story of Lindokuhle Cele. But before we go straight into this video, I do have to give you guys a content warning. In this video, we do talk about hate crime towards the LGBTQ community. So if that's not something you think you're interested in watching, then this video isn't for you. So maybe you can watch some of my other videos or just wait for my next upload. Lindokuhle was born on the 11th of April 1996, and he was described as a free spirit. He loved looking good, he loved people and beautiful things. He was really dramatic, but he had such a humble soul. He liked to keep the peace. He loved all things entertainment, especially singing. He had an amazing singing voice, and despite his age, he would always give you the best advice. He was wise beyond his years. His family says from a young age they knew that he wasn't your average boy, and he loved the spotlight. Growing up, he was obsessed with the color pink. He would constantly walk around the house with his mother's handbags. If you took out the camera, he would strike up a pose, and he had such a big personality. From a young age, everyone knew that Lindo was gay, and he didn't believe in coming out of the closet, like how heterosexual people don't come out and be like, oh hi, I'm Tshego and I'm attracted to guys, you know? Like, he didn't believe that he had to do that and announce who he was sexually attracted to or anything like that. So he just grew up knowing who he was, not having to announce it to anyone, you know? And his family were very accepting of him. In 2020, Lindokuhle was 23 years old. He was an AFDA graduate, a proud young gay black man, as well as an LGBTQIA plus activist. On the 6th of February 2020, Lindo was home. His home was in Umlazi in KwaZulu-Natal, and because there was no electricity at home, he just didn't want to spend the day there doing nothing. So he told his friend that they should go up the road to their local butcher shop. If you search this case, the first thing that always comes up is the local butcher shop, but it's more of like a shack on the side of the road, like very small. It's not that big at all, you know. So they went there so they could go get bride meat, and the friend remembers that that day Lindo wasn't himself, you know. He was usually bubbly, very talkative, but this day he was just very like quiet, kept to himself. So once they got there, Lindo sat inside and the friend was standing outside, and Lindo was on his phone and she was just standing there and waiting for the guy to set up the fire so he could start the braai. As the guy was setting up the fire, another man approached him and asked if he sold any weed, and the guy said he did. He'll be right back. He was gonna go fetch it. And as soon as this guy left, this man pulled out a knife from his pocket and started stabbing Lindokuhle. He started stabbing him continuously. He pulled him by his dreadlocks onto the road and kept stabbing him. And there were so many people there because the street that this butchery was on a very busy street, you know. So there were constantly people walking past, there were cars all the time, and there were so many people that saw what happened, but everyone just stood on the sidelines in groups watching this man stab Lindo viciously. As Lindo was lying on the floor, he kept trying to block the knife, and people could hear him crying and just asking for forgiveness and telling this man that he was sorry. His friend immediately ran to her grandmother's house to let her know what was happening. Soon news spread in the community that Lindokuhle had been stabbed, and the news reached his uncle, and his uncle immediately got out of the house, ran up the road, and he found Lindo lying on the floor. He was completely covered in blood, and he remembers that he still had a knife lodged into one of his eyes. A car arrived on the scene, and they immediately put Lindo in the back of the car and rushed him to a hospital. And his friend remembers that the first thing he asked about was his phone, and his friend told him like, no, don't worry about it, we left your phone at home. And then Lindo said that he couldn't feel his legs, and he asked his friend to massage his legs, and the friend did this. And then afterwards Lindo said that he couldn't feel his arms, and the friend just held onto his hand. On their way to hospital, they got stuck in traffic because there was load shedding, so the lights weren't working, so they were delayed even more getting to the hospital. And as they were like stuck in traffic, Lindo said that he wanted to let go, and his friend just told him to like just keep holding on, hold on for your grandmother, don't let go. And Lindo just replied, you guys don't know what I'm feeling right now, like if you guys knew how much pain I'm in, you guys would understand why I want to let go. And eventually they got to the hospital and Lindo was taken away. Lindo held on for 3.5 hours, and during that time he spoke to his family and friends. At one point he asked the doctor to take the knife out of his eye, and the doctor said that they couldn't because he was bleeding so much. At some point they'd given him 2 pints of blood to compensate for all the blood loss, and they would stitch him up after finding a stab wound. But after like stitching up one stab wound, they would find another one, and in total Lindokuhle had been stabbed 21 times. Towards the end, Lindo tried taking the knife out of his eye, and as he was reaching forward, the doctor stopped him, and Lindo told him there was no point in leaving it there. He told the doctor, I'm leaving and I'd rather leave with the knife out of my eye, not in it. And as soon as he said that, his arm just fell to his side and he passed away. Lindokuhle was just 23 years old. The post-mortem revealed that 18 of the 21 stab wounds Lindo suffered resulted in his death. They penetrated his face, his lungs, his heart, his head, as well as his hands. And his aunt describes these stab wounds as not just being like your basic stab wounds where you just like stab someone in the chest, almost as though this guy was tearing into him. So the guy would stab him and then push the knife downwards, take it out, and continuously do that. On the 15th of February 2020, Lindokuhle was laid to rest, and everyone was heartbroken and shattered to have lost him in such a vicious and brutal way. Not too long after Lindo was murdered, Mvuyizi Mabuda was apprehended. And he was apprehended really quickly because there were so many people who witnessed what he had done, so people knew that it was him, and he was also well known in the community as well. It was said that the year before, in 2019, Mvuyizi would go around telling people that he hated Lindo's sexuality and that he had never seen such a beautiful guy before who got attention from so many people and who was so famous. And he would tell people that he wanted to deal with him. He never outright said that he wanted to kill Lindo, but he did say that he wanted to put him in a wheelchair and he wanted to poke his eyes out, or maybe like scratch his face up and then afterwards see if he got the same attention he did before. On the 1st of January 2020, Lindo was at his friend's house with a couple of other people. They were celebrating coming into the new year. They were like having fun, drinking, and at some point Lindo had decided to go take a nap, and his friend was in the living room, and Mvuyizi was the only person that had been left behind. And after the friend saw this, she immediately went to the bedroom and woke Lindo up and told him that this guy is still here, and she didn't want to be alone with him because she was scared of him. Like, she was terrified of this person. He was so well known in the community because he would constantly go around like violating people, sexually assaulting him. He was a known rapist in the community, and now she was left with him, and she just didn't want that. She was scared, and rightfully so. And after Lindo woke up, he told her that he'd be right back. He was going to the bathroom, and once he got back to the bedroom, he told her like, what, let's just leave. This guy is being weird. And apparently Mvuyizi offered Lindo cigarettes as well as money to leave, just leave the house and let him be alone with Lindo's friend. And obviously Lindo wouldn't allow this, so he told his friend what happened, and after this they walked out of the house and they said that they were locking up, so he had to leave and they were going to fetch the friend's child from Lindo's grandmother's house. And yeah, That night, Lindo's friend spent the night at his place because she was so scared to go back home. The next day, they saw Mvuyisi in a store and he asked if they'd seen his cell phone, and Lindo and the friend both replied that they hadn't, and he seemed fine with this answer. And afterwards they left, and as soon as they got to the friend's house, they noticed that the door had been open, like the door was open as though someone had been inside the house, and Lindo's friend's phone was also missing. And they looked for it a bit, but they couldn't find it. And as they were heading out of the house, Mvuyisi had sent one of his brothers to give back the phone to the friend. And the friend always thinks that after they had left that night to go to Lindo's grandmother's house, the guy had returned back to the house, you know, broken in, and was waiting for the friend to come back so that he could sexually assault her. Lindo's uncle says he has one question for Mvuyisi, and that's just, what did my son do to you, you know? It's like, my son was loving, he was kind. Like, what did he ever do to you for you to do this to him, for you to end his life? On the 25th of February 2020, Mvuyisi Mabuda appeared in the Mlazi Magistrates Court for the bail hearing, but he abandoned his own bail application, citing that he would feel safer behind bars. During the trial, Mvuyisi claimed that Lindo had sexually assaulted him on New Year's Eve by drugging him, but he didn't report it to the police station because he felt embarrassed. He saw Lindo the next month and he got angry and stabbed him. The judge dismissed his plea, saying the defense couldn't prove the alleged rape. Finally, on the 31st of March 2021, so just last year, Mvuyisi Mabuda was found guilty of the murder of Lindokuhle Cele and sentenced to 25 years imprisonment. Outside the court, Lindo's aunt Nombuzo read out an emotional letter to the media. She said, "On behalf of the Cele family, we are happy that at last justice has been served. It has been a long journey, but with God we persevered. Some people would have quitted right now, but the love that my family have for each other kept us going. 25 years in prison will not bring my son back, but it should set an example to the murderers out there. At least our family has found closure." She further added, "To those who feel discriminated against, be just like Lindo. Just push until your haters realize that we are all human beings and that they should accept everyone. South Africa is a democratic country. Lindo had a right to life. Everybody has a right to live peacefully." It's been too hard living, and I'm afraid to die. And that's it for today's video. If you guys have any comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!